Hello, hello. Happy Sunday and welcome back to the UpSet podcast. We're so happy that you tuned in this evening. And when I say we, I'm talking about the greatest crew in all the land. My people, there they are. Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Hello,
Happy
Thanksgiving.
happy Sunday.
Happy Thanksgiving, right? We have a lot of things that have passed since we were last here. Speaking of that, how did everyone enjoy their Thanksgiving? Let's start there.
It's good.
It's good.
It was
food.
quiet. Usually the whole family's together. This time it was quiet. Well, I think I watched the Hills Are Alive with the sounds of music.
Oh, okay.
And you're willing to tell people that.
Well, to the greatest group,
sound of
to the greatest group in the whole world, Tally.
You know, we be fam, so we share goofy stuff, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
Some of my friends told me that their Thanksgiving was really foul.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, Charles.
you
I'm
need to
sorry.
laugh.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Charles.
I know.
We need to
I
laugh
think
at
you
that.
had
me a
too much
second.
turkey for real.
Speaking of foul, today is the last day for everyone to finish their leftovers
Yeah.
At this point,
Oh,
after this is done.
really?
because
Yeah.
refrigeration only slows down the germs. It does not eliminate them. So please finish your leftovers. If you don't, you might get food poisoning
I
or
thought
another.
you had up to a week. One week.
You,
After
you
4
do.
days.
You do. That
Mhm.
what Justin is talking about is suburban rules of eating. And everybody knows that in the hood. That
We
until
stretched
it-
that thing to a week, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we
until
see
it
something
develops
growing on it. Yeah.
a green fuzz over
No.
it.
Yeah,
You know, it's like my mother. I remember we used
Scrape
to
it
get
off,
those
scrape it
that
off.
food. You know, it would say, where the date would be on it. And I said, Mom, this is past the date. She said, no, son, it says best if used by this date.
Right,
Right
right.
there.
It's still pretty good right now. So
And you won't die. That's right.
I'm living
not
proof.
die.
It won't kill you.
If anything, it's penicillin, so you good.
That
Rush
is
him to the
true.
doctor real quick.
Penicillin.
Oh, mercy.
Gosh, you better get that discllaimer ready.
Justin
I know,
is that way
right?
because Justin has a baby, and so he's very protective and pure about these
That's
things.
right.
But
Can't
Wait
risk
till
being
she
sick.
eats something that she shouldn't have. He'll
Now,
learn.
Marlena, wait for the second kid to come around. They be juggling knives.
I remember when
I'm
a friend of
prophesying
mine had their second child. The first child, I don't think the child's feet touched the floor until they were 3.
I believe
The
that.
second child, I was watching. The child's playing on the back of the couch, and I said, "You might fall." And she said, "The floor will catch him." I mean, it was such a difference in the way they treated them.
Oh, man, I love it. I love it. Oh, aside from Thanksgiving, what else has kind of been showing up in your timelines, catching your attention in the news? Anything?
Mm,
Well, we are awash in mass shootings again.
yeah.
My understanding is that there was one in Atlanta, was it today or yesterday? And
Was it today?
I didn't even hear that one. I
the
saw
day
the
before
Bronx,
Thanksgiving,
New
there was
York.
one 4 kids shot at coming out of high school, and
Yeah.
we have to understand. We have to stop using the expression senseless violence because until you make sense of it, you can't stop it, and so we have to
Mhm.
understand what's going on with people.
And
Virginia.
then in my community,
that's
Virginia
big.
with 6
Virginia.
employees.
Yeah.
And I was there, so they were talking about him. He was some type of manager at the
Yeah.
store, and someone
Mhm.
was picking on him. But what they said was one guy said that when he heard that there was a shooting, that he called 2 people, and the shooter was one of the people that he called because he would have never imagined him
Wow.
being the shooter. This was a
Mhm.
young man with no violent record, no police record,
Wow.
just
Hmm.
someone who got frustrated and started
Yeah.
shooting.
He purchased
We have
his
to-
gun legally too.
That day,
No, not
That's
that
right.
week, but
no, it was that day.
really.
It was that morning.
It
Yeah,
says
Yeah.
that morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was that morning. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's ooh,
And when he
nice.
called, he never picked up, never knowing that he was the actual shooter. So,
Yeah.
that just made me think, how you just don't know when people will snap.
Yep.
And someone talking or
Yeah.
teasing you now causes people to snap so easily.
Mm.
Mhm.
What's that
Even if-
song? Don't push me, cause
'Cause
I'm close to the edge.
edge.
Mhm.
I'm trying not to be like Pat.
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how much you should be in. You know what?
Oh my
Home with
goodness.
the turkey. So this week, it's turns on with the turkey.
Chuck's like, I ain't got nothing to say about none of this.
I mean, it's same thing, you know, same thing until this country takes some measures to. I mean, you can't eradicate guns, and you can't take guns from people, you know, because there's a constitutional line that that protects that. But we, as a society, we need to deep dive into the psychology of this. Guns and shooting. I mean, guns are going to be with us. This country will never get rid of the guns. So I think we just need to study a little more about
But
what's
they're
causing people
definitely
to do that.
pushing gun sales. You know, they're easily be obtained, and now when there's anger, people shoot versus talking.
That's
You
true.
know, or having discussion. They shoot first.
Mm.
And then we're the only country with shooting violence or mass shootings, I would say.
Yeah.
As
You know,
common.
I when we discussed this before, I felt like at least one measure we could take is if you apply to get a gun. And then before you are given your license and your weapon, you have to prove that you have had some training.
Proficiency, yeah.
Right. And then when it's time to pick up your weapon, you pick it up at the police station. You sign it out from law enforcement. But I just think there needs to be a longer period, you know, of waiting to buy a weapon. Any weapon.
Like getting a driver's license.
Yeah.
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 Just
You
to
have
make sure
to
it's not
prove that you've gone through some training, some
Right.
psychological profiling. You can't get it on the day of. You can't even get. If it was left up to me, you wouldn't be able to get that firearm for at least 2 to 4 weeks. You know, so by the time you think you
cool
hopefully
down.
you can work out your anger, take you 4 weeks before you could, you know, if you're planning to use it that way. But you know, it's just something we need to do, and we can do. You know, we just have to do it.
Right.
You know, we just have the will. Should have the will to do it. Not, you know, how many more people have to die?
That's the question. And good evening out there, everybody. Yes, we all had a great Thanksgiving. We did as well. Thanks for the greetings. Okay, guys. So we have a lot to cover tonight. So we're actually going to jump right into tonight's topic. Pat, I'm just going to turn it right over to you to introduce what we're talking about this evening.
Yeah, and I want to make sure that I say the word right. We said Alzheimer's without the T. I know that we've been talking about it, and you know, I want to go all the way back to 1994. Went to get a job in Manhattan as a music therapist or recreation therapist. Basically, what you do is to provide recreation for the patients, and these are long-term patients. Everybody, we're talking about Alzheimer's and dementia, and one of the things that you know, we try to get old radio stations that's been recorded for them, old news. But that's the first time that I've actually been around people who are losing their memory, short-term memory. And it was intriguing for me to sit down and have a conversation with them and to ask them what it is, because most of them were living in the 1940s and the 1950s and still can play the piano and read notes and listen to music that brought them back to where they were. But I think after leaving there, not really paying attention to all of this, moving on to something else, then people in my family getting older, hitting the ages of 70, 75. And we talk about this in the green room all the time. Sometimes we forget certain things. We say to ourselves, oh, Here we go. I think this is the beginning of it. And sometimes it frightens me because there are little things that you can't remember, little things. And you say, wait a minute, what was that about? But I want to let you know, everybody, that's normal. That it's normal, and stress can
yeah, of
even
course.
cause that. Tally, it's normal
Mhm.
for you to forget
It's
every
normal.
now and then.
Absolutely.
You know, not
Weekly,
That is
daily.
true.
Mhm.
he said weekly.
That is true.
But here's the thing: it's once you get around it, you start to you want to make sense of it. You know, how does this thing come about? Alzheimer's, everyone, is a disease, and it's a progressive brain disease that leads to problems with cognitive abilities. Listen to this, such as thinking, memory. Here's where it is, because Tally, even though we were just talking about forgetting, people who have Alzheimer's have language, their own language. They have a problem with their own language, judgment, and learning. Here's where it's gut wrenching. Alzheimer's is not curable,
That's right.
but therapies will help. All right. And
Delay the process.
right. We'll delay it. In more than 90% of people with Alzheimer's, symptoms don't appear until after the age of 65. An estimated 6.5 million Americans age 65 or older have the disease. And according to Alzheimer's Association, by the time we get to 2060, there'll be 13.8 million people in the US is projected to have Alzheimer's.
Wait,
So,
I'm sorry. I have to ask you a question about
Mhm.
that. 'Cause you said the symptoms show up after 65. Does that mean the disease was there before?
yes, yes, precisely.
Ah,
So disease is there before,
the symptoms.
and I want to be careful because, first of all, I'm not a doctor,
Just play
and
one
no,
of them.
Tally, I don't play one on the air either. But I picked up a book on dementia and a magazine. And I started to read through it, and there are different ways that you can get dementia. First of all, there's a difference between Alzheimer's and dementia, and I want to make sure that we all understand that dementia are different. Dementia and Alzheimer's are different. Dementia is a general term used to describe the symptoms, like I said, about memory loss, etc., communication abilities. Alzheimer's disease is the most common type of dementia.
Dementia.
Right. So you're only going to hear those two. While you know, we could talk about this later on, but there are other types of dementia that comes into play, like vascular, high blood pressure, stress that can cause it. There's so many different parts of this disease, but yet no one's able to break that code. No one's able to break it. So yes, let me go back to what you was asking, Latasha, because when you look at it, you could start off with dementia at the age of 40, and yet it's a slower progression. But eventually, when you get to 65, and really when it really says 75, but when you get to 65 to 75, that's when you're going to start to see the forgetfulness, the short term, by the way, the short term forgetfulness. I have an auntie right now that has dementia. She
Wow.
I have to be introduced to her every time I see her.
Mm.
But for another family member, she knows exactly who she is and how's your mother, how's everyone doing. But as far as I'm concerned, when Tally, don't play. Okay, this is
No, I'm
serious.
with you.
Okay,
I'm with
because
you.
I think you were gonna say that she just want to forget me.
No, man. I know how serious this is.
Yeah, man,
I'm
she
with
doesn't know anything about me, and I have to be introduced to her every single time. Anybody, Tally and I joke around. I just
you.
want
Oh,
to
yeah.
tell you this that
Does she see you not regularly? Sees the other
I can
person
see her,
regularly?
Marlene. I could see her twice within the same day, and she would not remember me. She asked to introduce herself to me, and it's scary to think that it could happen to any one of us.
Mhm.
That's the scary part, that it can happen, and the onset could happen early. I thought I just saw the disease starts progressing in your body 5 to 10 years before the symptoms show, right? And sometimes earlier than that. Any one of us know anyone personally? I know I do have people in my family, at least 2 or 3 that I know of right now that has dementia. Do you all know anyone is in your family, or do you know anyone that's close to you that have dementia?
Both of my grandmothers did, and my father.
Mm.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know of anyone in my family. I did remember a church grandmother who had it, and it became an issue because she would leave the house,
Right.
and no one would know where she was. And I remember, them calling on the church family to pray that she come back safely. And as a child, I was like, well, why would she do that? And that was kind of my introduction to the disease and how it works. And as a child, hearing about that, but it hasn't affected me personally. But I'm very sympathetic towards it.
And I want to tell you, same lady who's been working for almost 45 years in the nursing industry is able to jump in her car in New York City before the symptoms started coming on, and work, take care of patients, train other people with the symptoms starting to come on, and be able to go back and forth, but won't know the name of, or leave the stove on, won't lock the doors. Tally, you sent us something earlier. Someone who's a caretaker. Talk to us about him really quick.
The gentleman we call each other brothers. I mean, I've known him for years, and his father's a pastor, his uncles, and he's actually an associate pastor. Now, I've known his mother for a while, at least the last 30, 35 years. But he is now caring for his mother, who was in probably mid stages of dementia. And the cruelty is not simply what it does to the person, but what it does to the relationships. And he started an online vlog, a video log, so that he could chronicle what the development of this disease is like within the context of a relationship. And it's called The Parenting Son by Wendell Phillips. Great guy.
Before we play that cut, I see 2 in the chat right now. Willeen Davis that asks, do antidepressants drug cause dementia? Now, I just wanted to answer that question based on what I've been reading. The answer is no. It actually helps to delay it. It actually helps to delay it. This is from what I've read. Okay. And I'm grateful to see, Brother Williams, that they have a support group.
That's awesome.
That's at the Ebenezer Church.
Yeah.
Grateful to hear about that.
That's real nice.
What I want to do right now is to play the clip from the Parenting Son. The Parenting Son. I've been on it on Instagram. We're going to play that cut right after we play that cut, because now we're moving from what this thing is to actually talk about caregiving. Where we'll bring on our guest, and I'll introduce her in a second. So let's go ahead and play this clip really quick.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. My name is Wendell, and welcome to my journey. That's me on the right, and the pretty lady on the left, that's my mom, Dorothy. And this is us 50 years later. Can you believe it? At 88 and 58. Now, in 2020, Mom was diagnosed with mild dementia. Now, perhaps the mild was supposed to soften the blow, but it didn't. It just feels like the beginning of a long, slow goodbye. And I'm chronicling this journey with me and Mom, not to exploit her or deny her dignity, but to help those of us who find ourselves in this caretaking space. If you're on this journey, then you already know it's heartwarming and heart-wrenching at once. We beat ourselves up for not wanting to experience the pain of watching the one who's known us longer than we've known ourselves begin to forget us. You're invited to take this journey with me and Mom, and all you need to pack is some compassion and empathy. You won't need your judgment. You can leave that at home. So join me on the road to caretaking, or parenting a parent. Hence my name, The Parenting Son.
Mm.
Yeah,
Wow,
plenty.
that's amazing. I jot down a few things of while he was talking in that minute.
Yeah.
Mild. How because we said it was mild, because the doctor said it was mild. Wow, what was that supposed to do? Make me feel better that it was mild? That was one thing and when we bring on Pat, it's when she's always said, listen, I'll do anything for someone to learn more about what's
Yeah.
happening. Yes, a long, slow goodbye.
Yeah.
The two, heartwarming, heart-wrenching at the same
Mhm.
time. Heart-wrenching. Listen, I'd like to bring up Pat. Pat, and I'm just going to say it this way. We're not going to read out any big resumes or anything from Pat. At work, we call her Pat. She's on the east side of the building. We're on the west side of the building, and Chuck is all the way over into Gannett.
I'm in
That's called.
another
I'm on the
building.
east side too. I'm on her side.
That's right. You're on the east side. You're on the east side.
Enough with the gang signs now.
Okay.
Pottstown gangs.
So really, Pat, I'm surprised. I know that this is a passion for you. We ask you about your mother every day that we see you, and you don't ever answer us like she's fine or, oh, everything's okay. If you're gonna ask Pat how she's doing and how's her mother doing, sit down, because there's gonna be an explanation of what. And Pat, we're friends, so we could say this. What crazy happened yesterday, and what funny happened yesterday with your mother. We're putting you on the spot. 40 minutes, because there are people like me who are in denial about what can be. And we want to let you have the floor, but I want to start off by asking you this question, Pat. Oh, wait, Pat, I think we did that wrong. Pat works on the east side for family life and for family
Ministries development.
And there's a question that you have to ask her. You were saying.
Let me get to What was the first indication? What was your first? And by the way, everybody, mother and father had father passed away, had dementia. Mom is still with us. Pat, what was the first indication that you had? Forget dementia right now, because you wouldn't know it then, that something was wrong.
The first indication, which I didn't recognize at the time, none of us did, was when my father up and left my mother one day and moved to North Carolina near one of his sisters. And the next day called mommy and asked her to come and move with them. And of course, well, my mother's a hardworking, proud Black woman. So like, this is the wrong time to ask me. You should have asked me before you left here. That seems strange, but like I said, that in hindsight, I'm thinking he was already in the early stages. That was in 2006. For mom, she came to visit one of my sisters, and I lived in Maryland, and we had brought daddy back from North Carolina and had moved into a place where we could watch over him and care for him. Mom came down to visit one time, and I remember something about her medicines, because she has severe bronchial asthma and some other issues that she takes medications for. But the way she took her medication, she had all her medicine just in this thing. And I was like, Mom, isn't it time for you taking it? Which medicine do you take? And she went and picked out this one and this one and this one. And it bothered me. And I'm sure it's because it was a behavior that was like my father's. I was working in DC. Daddy was living in, about a half hour away. And he would call me 3 or 4 times a week at work. Patty, this, they didn't that. There was always something. And I would have to go down. Anybody who lives in the Maryland, DC area, or any big city understands a half hour from work to where he lives, then a half hour, 45 minutes back to where I live. That's a long trip. And at rush hour, it's even longer. So 3 or 4 times a week, I'm doing this about things that really shouldn't be. So after a couple of months of this, I told my sister, when our lease is up here, I'm going to have to get a place down close to Daddy because he can't, I don't think he can take care of himself anymore. So she's the one who suggested, okay, let's just get a bigger house and we'll both take care of him. So I set about contacting the VA and setting up doctor appointments and things with him. And he was diagnosed in maybe 2007 with dementia. For my mother, I don't know when they had her tested because my sisters were the ones up here in Pottstown with her. I'm not sure if they had her tested. So, but that medicine thing really hit me, which it wouldn't have if I hadn't had dealings with Daddy already. So that's when it first.
Denial, acceptance. Where was your mindset at this point?
Oh, mercy. No, not Daddy. Mm-mm. Daddy was the man of the household.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy was the disciplinarian. I mean, Mommy did, but
I got a witness.
Yeah.
Daddy worked 10,000 jobs.
Yeah.
So he didn't have time to be arguing with you about something. If I asked you to do something, it's not really a request. You are to do that. And this is Daddy. We're getting ready to leave for church. There's 5 million feet of snow on the ground. And he looks at me and says, "You think I need to wear my coat today?" Only the Holy Spirit kept me together and does the same with Mommy when I'm in front of them. But I used to cry myself to sleep every night.
Wow.
Every night. Daddy's asking me if he needs to wear a coat. He's the one who used to tell me, "Child, I know you're not going out there with no coat on. Do you know it's cold out there? Get your coat and gloves." He's asking me. That it wasn't denial. It was excuse me, all you good Adventist folk, it was hell right here on earth and still is. Dementia is a nasty, nasty disease. And go ahead.
Pat, can we hold you? Oh, go ahead, Chuck.
I was going to ask you, Pat, you know, my association with your dad, of course, took place at Larchwood School.
Yeah.
When our studio was down there. And I have found him to be one of the nicest people I could ever want to know. Just kind, soft-spoken, you know. Of course, there was nothing that I witnessed that may have suggested that, but this was before his dementia, correct? When he was down at
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because he was really a terrific guy.
Oh yeah, and he was very gentle, soft-spoken. He didn't have to growl or bark. You just know when he said, "Patricia, I need for you to do such and such." Just in a nice voice like that. Again, it was an unspoken. He wasn't really asking. No, I mean, he wasn't. I mean, if he was asking something, you knew when he was asking and when he was telling you to do something.
We call that ass tell. We call that ass tell.
Okay,
go ahead, Marlena. Go ahead.
Hey, Pat, I have a question. You know, because oftentimes their temperament starts to change. Did you notice your dad becoming anxious or easily angered or irritated? Did you see anything like that happening?
His temperament, I would say the negative sides of his temperament really, he didn't change. It's just that he was a Christian for real. I mean, he just was. And there were times that he got mad, and he would, but he was so good at controlling himself, even his anger. Now, see, I'm a hothead like him, but I don't have the control that he did. I pray for that, because when I'm hot-headed, I'm going to say what I want to say, do what I want to do, and then I'll apologize later.
That's very true.
That's the East Side conference office. Yeah. has the
But
inside
he
of it.
would. He did.
I see you, GP.
That's why I was amazed that Patricia apologized for using the word hell. I said, "Oh, really?"
You did.
But he did. He was more easily agitated. He was more openly angry, and I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying that it hurts so bad, not because of the things he said. My dad never cursed. Well, in the last few years, he did curse out his sweet mate, but up until him getting sick, he never cursed. So I used to say, Daddy cursed me out in daddy language. And it would send me into tears, not because of him cursing me out, but what that meant. That meant that here it is, a man of 70-something years old who has worked hard all his life. His parents were sharecroppers. He's the oldest of 6, so he didn't get to finish high school. He had to do his GED later in life when he was in the Navy, working being in the Navy, sending money home to his parents to help that family. A year after he got into the Navy, he married my mom. A year later, they had my oldest brother. So his own family worked hard. Always. I don't know a time when he had less than 2 jobs. I don't know a time when that happened.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Was he working quite a bit prior to his
yes.
signs and symptoms?
And
on the average, how long would he work in a given day?
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so he put in his 8 hours at Little Lake in Pottstown, come home, grab the bowl of food that Mom had made for him, hit the road to go to Larchwood to clean the school every evening.
Wow.
In Philly, he would also be part-time cleaning a doctor's office or some kind of office building. So his 2 part-time jobs were in Philly. Then he was always selling Amway or health stuff, or this and that and the other. So he hustled. He hustled constantly. A good night's sleep for him came on Friday night. Because Friday night, there's no working, there's no nothing. Friday night was his mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical time to rest. Because Sunday morning, guess what?
Back to work again.
Larchwood School.
Yeah, back to work again. Pat, you have just in this short period of time, you just pans is hitting in the chat room. People are now coming out telling their story, because I asked you a question. What was your first time? I mean, how did you see, the behaviors coming around? And we have some in here. Tasha, if you pull, first of all, Dr. D, we saw that the mom is currently living with dementia. Go ahead. It's currently living with dementia. So now this thing is coming out. But what about Olive? If you can go to Olive and read Olive's, please.
She said, it's very scary and sad. My mom has dementia. I do not get to see her regularly because COVID prevents me from visiting. I live here. She's in Jamaica. Wow. It broke my heart after COVID, and I finally got to see her for 3 days. She did not know who I was.
Wow. Said she didn't know who she was. This is crazy. And then Pastor Rodney, who's with us. I don't know if I heard him say this before, but we're talking about 2008. Rodney says it's not an easy road. I'm a son whose mother died from dementia. I just want to add this thing in that dementia, your brain can tell your organs to stop working.
Wow.
It can tell you it can tell your organs to stop breathing. That's the weird part about it. But go ahead, read his story.
Yeah, he said we were all out of the house, and my mother started to hallucinate, and intense fear overcame her to the point where they had to move her with family. It was a downward path from there. Eventually, we had to painstakingly move her to a 24-hour care facility.
Which, Pat, we're going to get to this. I know time is rolling, but we're going to get to this. That you are the caretaker. You're the caretaker. You're taking care of mom. But before we get to that, somebody asked a question that I'd like to bring up. Did either of your parents know that their minds or their memories were leaving them? Were they ever aware of the changes that were taking place? What's your take?
My father was not. My mother is excuse me, my mother is aware of forgetting things. She's in the early, when I moved back home to Pottstown, USA, woohoo, in the end of 2012. And when I first moved home, mom was famous for her food. Camp meeting time, everybody was stopping at the house to get some of mom's food. Loved cooking, excellent seamstress. Always loved children. It's like she had 6 of her own, and then I tell her she's crazy. You had 6 of your own, and then all the friends that your 6 kids had then became your kids. She was just that kind of loving person. So when she started forgetting things, she would say to me, "Did I already do that?" Or after she's asked me something for the 500th time, "I already asked you that, didn't I? What did you say?" And she would start apologizing. And like, "Mommy, don't ever apologize. You ask me whatever you want to ask me, whenever you want to ask me, however many times you want to ask me." And sometimes it would frustrate her. Other times she would just say, "Well, okay, I might ask you again." And I say, "Okay, that's fine." And she would. But then other times she would stay on the tip that, "I already asked you that. I'm so sorry. I don't want you to." I mean, this mother of mine, who, gosh, she's just the ultimate mother. She's the best mother in the world. Done everything for me that she could. I always wanted to be up under her because I wasn't a mommy's girl in that I was the favorite, but I just wanted to always be up under mommy. I was afraid of my own shadow. I didn't like people looking at me, saying hi to me, none of that. And she never pushed me away and said, "Get out from under me." She would say, "Patty, they're not going to, you say hi. You know you were taught better than that." But she would keep me close to her while she was making me greet these people. And she's telling me she's sorry because she's asked me a question more than once because she can't remember. When she has to ask me what day it is, when she has to ask me, "Did I already eat lunch?"
And she's asking you that, Pat. She's asking you that. Somewhat, Dr. D, which is all over our chat, awesome. Stay on, Doctor. Doctor is also talking about how they forget that they have eaten or that they have not eaten.
Yeah.
Pat, she says something, and we're gonna get a little bit gritty. Even using the bathroom.
Did she forget that she's used the bathroom, or did she forget to use the bathroom?
Forget to use it.
Mom will sometimes, at this point anyway, she has never. She does wear the adult diapers.
Right.
She's never had a bowel movement in them. She will urinate, but then sometimes she goes to the bathroom.
Okay.
So sometimes she remembers, and sometimes she doesn't.
I'm going to switch somewhere real quick. Oh, I'm sorry.
Real quick,
ahead,
Pat, before you change. Trish, I know you said your dad did not show much anger, but how about your mom? Because I think it's even more challenging when they start to become angry. You know, the behavior changes. Like with my grandmother, she refused to accept that she was changing, right? And so she would become angry, you know, when she would feel someone had taken her money. She would accuse people of stealing from her when she's just misplaced it, right? And she would get really angry at everyone, and she looked through her purses all day, you know, trying to find her money. And if she couldn't find it, she would get angry. Where my father, he would say, you know, something is happening to my mind and I don't know why. He was forgetting how to say certain words, and he sang in a group. He could remember the songs that he would sing, the words and the lyrics, I guess, because it's a right brain function or left, right brain function. And so when he was saying that, man, we were at the church listening to him. We just began to cry because we saw our dad changing, and it was nothing we could do. You know, he didn't even though my stepmom did say he started to fight her after a while,
Mhm.
but I think is even really tough when they're angry and they're mad and they won't do anything you ask them to do. And so I just wanted to see if you've seen any of that come out in your mom yet.
No, mom has her moments, and really, mom was always just a very loving, gentle person, and she still is. Daddy, like I said, their personalities didn't change. They just became stronger in certain areas. So, like when I had to have Daddy's license taken away from him, he called the police on me several times.
Wow.
Because it's his car.
Yeah, I remember you told me about that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And I mean, I cried standing there talking to the police and to Daddy, and Daddy's explaining that it's his car. Yes, it's my car. And no, I'm not going to disagree. Yes, it's his car. It's in his name. I mean, I paid for it, but the registration on was still current. I mean, all of that. So once the cops started talking to him, and the longer they spoke to him, the more it became clear to them what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he first started telling them, it was coming out all right. And then he would start repeating. And then I bought this car back in 18 something. And, and I was watching the cops' reaction. And that was really when it dawned on them. So each time he called them out, it basically was the same kind of thing. So yes, with my father, definitely. With my mother, she has her moments, but it's not often. And I have learned how, which is so very important in caregiving, how to handle those situations. Daddy was my first trial, and I always feel like I failed him. And with mommy, I try things and they don't work. I try something else because that's all you can do. And you have to remember that just because it worked this time does not mean it's going to work next time. And just because it didn't work that time, that the following time it might work. It's just a nasty disease. And keeping them as calm as possible. Arguing with them does no good.
Yeah,
that's right.
I just apologize for stuff. Patty, you did such and such and such and such. What? I'm like, you know what, Mommy? I am so sorry. Please forgive me. Well, I forgive you. And it's done. It's done. So part of it, Daddy, could have been that I didn't have those tools to know how to de-escalate him. And so it just went higher and higher.
Yeah. And have you taken them out of, or your mom out of her environment? Her normal environment sometimes.
Mom still lives. I came back home. She still lives in the house that.
Oh, that's good.
50 years. She doesn't even remember that anymore. She doesn't know the house.
Wow.
That's the question. And I'm looking at some of these posts from the folks who share this time with us, and my heart just goes out to everybody who's wrestling. But Pat, there's a difference between loving someone and caring for someone. And I'm defining that difference, that caring is having the skills to respond to particular needs, while loving is having the emotion that says, I want the best for you and I'm willing to do whatever I can. But you can't, for example, if Pat needed a brain surgery, I love him, but he shouldn't come to me for brain surgery because I can't care for him.
Right.
So let me just ask the question. Has there ever been a moment where you thought, okay, I might be at the end of my ability to care for this person that I love?
Absolutely.
How do you work through that?
I call my sisters. I pray a whole lot.
Yeah.
Now, Patricia, let me just tell you before you're cute, and if you cry, everybody's going to respond to you warmly. If I start crying, we're going to lose ratings because there's nothing cute about the way I cry.
Yeah, oh my gosh,
we won't pay him any attention, Pat. But we'll
make me cry, Patricia. That's all I'm saying. So
it's yeah. I because I don't know what I'm doing. I will be the first. You can ask Pat and Tasha and Charles. I am clueless. After 10 years with mommy, 3 years with daddy, I'm still clueless. That's how different the disease is, not just for individuals, but for an individual at any given moment, it is so different. And my sisters are trying to get it through what they call my thick head. I disagree. I think it's a very lovely head. That I am doing a good job, that it is an impossible situation.
That's
and
right.
that mommy is happy. She has a good quality of life. And that's all that we can hope to give her. We can't change the disease. We can't take it back. We can't, none of that. Just making sure that she knows she's loved and secure and safe. That's my job. So anything mommy wants, mommy gets. Because that's all I can do for her.
And Pat, if I may share this with you, I'm a healthcare professional, and it's still challenging for me, even when I know certain things, keep them in a familiar environment, keep them safe, and so many other things. But when, they become combative and they don't know what they're doing, and you love them and you want to make sure you give them the best of care, you have to know that there is nothing else that you can do other than love your mom and doing well. I mean, you are doing a remarkable job. I saw my aunt take care of her mother, my grandmother, till the end. And my grandmother, probably needed nursing home placement because it was really tough. But she, like you, I'm not putting my mom there. I'm going to take care of her in the end. And she did. And so you are remarkable, darling. You are doing an excellent job. Don't you ever, and you're going to cry because it's a lot. This a lot. And but never think you're not doing enough. And you're right. I mean, some things work sometimes, some things don't. And all you can do is just ask God to give you patience and strength. But you're doing a remarkable job.
Bless your heart. Thank you.
Sister Pat, there's so much love flowing from the chat going towards you, and support and prayers are going up. But I have a question for those who may be in a similar situation, but they're not able to be caretakers. Perhaps they live hundreds or thousands of miles away. What words of encouragement or advice would you give to those who can't be near their parents at this time?
Forgive yourself if you have to put them in a facility.
Wow.
Because you are going to feel guilty that you can't. I had to end up, my sister and I in Maryland had to end up putting my father in assisted living because we were leaving early in the morning, not getting home till late at night, and that was not good for him. And I struggled with that really, really hard. And my sister was like, Patty, you can't think of it that way. You're not throwing him away. You're doing what's best for him. Him being here by himself all day is not best for him. So we would go and visit him. We moved to a place that was less than 5 minutes away. We would go and visit him, take him with us. Like on Sabbath, I would go and get him for church, and we spend the whole day together. And forgive yourself first and foremost, but also communicate with that person, whether it's a parent, a friend, some other kind of relative, whatever it is, communicate with them, talking to them on the phone. And if there's someone around them where you can video chat with them so that they can see.
Right.
My mother, God bless her, still remembers, praise God, all of us children. And that's a blessing to me. I don't know what I would do if she eventually forgets me.
Which one is Ladybug for me? Which sister is
Cheryl.
that?
That's Cheryl.
That's Cheryl. Okay.
Is she on
Hi,
here?
Cheryl.
Oh, there she
Yes.
is. Hey, Cheryl.
No, she's talking about how great job you do with.
I tell my sisters, they're just wonderful. They're a little bit delusional, but
I
praise God for them.
Right now you are, because it's amazing when we see you come in and you talk about there's somebody who suggests that you should even write a book.
Yes.
Me.
That would be good. That would be good.
Trisha, let me tell you, I was trying to be quiet, but then you said,
Oh, mercy. That got you started.
Whenever I hear Patricia talk about the care for her mom, I'm amazed by it, because I've seen others go through it and the trial and error, but the things that she just comes up with, and the amount of patience she has, and I don't think I've ever seen, and I love my mom, but I don't think I've ever seen a child love their mom the way that
Yeah.
I mean, when you see it, like tears they come to your eyes because nothing comes before mom. I mean, nothing comes before her.
Pat, you go to the Christmas party?
Yeah.
Nah.
Mom.
What'd you say?
What?
Am I going to the work? Wait, okay, let's get back to
Don't worry about it, Pat. Don't worry about it.
And Pat, this is what I want to say. I remember some time ago, because I don't see you that much unless you're at camp meeting.
Yeah.
And I remember asking about your mom, and you were talking a little bit about her condition, and you said, but that's okay. I don't care about that. I just care about my mom. And I thought that was so sweet that no matter what your mom was going through, it's okay because you honor her, and that is so wonderful. That's why, we're all saying you're doing a remarkable job, because trust me, many people would not be able to tolerate that. And we wouldn't not put other people down if they couldn't, because it's a really, really tough thing.
It is difficult for some. Now we're blessed to have aides who come in and help with the physical things, but I wish it were just the physical things. That's not the hardest part of it. The hardest part is the emotional. Watching my mother just slowly drift away from me. It is hell. But God, that's all I can say. But God. So when I am feeling at my lowest, and then I look over at my mom, who may just be staring, have this blank look on her face, then God sends me something really stupid and silly to say to her, because she loves to laugh, she loves to play and dance and all that. It's not me. It's God. That's all I can say. It's God's the one who sends these things to me and says, try this, try that, say this, say that. And I am always telling her how much I love her and hugging up on her and making sure that she feels safe. Like every lock on the in the house has to be when we're inside. I'm used to just locking the doorknob until the end of the day before we go to bed. And Mom will look over there and say, the door's not locked. Like, yes, it is, Mommy. See? She's like, but what about that one and that one and that one and that one? So I have learned that I don't even question. Like, oh, Mommy, I'm sorry. Let me put these on. She needs to feel safe. And if that means having 500 locks locked on the door at all times, then why do I not need to do that?
And sometimes they figure how to unlock it and get out the house.
That's another blessing. She doesn't wander outside. Praise God.
Oh, that is a blessing.
God.
What's that show she liked to watch?
What'd you say?
That's something she likes to watch.
Which one? You talking about Petticoat Junction or
really?
Or because you know what? I figured that because she remembers those. She remembers those other stuff she has to ask questions about. A whole lot of questions about, and it changes as she declines. It changes.
There's two things I want to talk to you about. I'm first of all, I'm looking here. Rodney Grisham is talking about he felt guilty for a while.
No.
Go ahead,
no.
Natasha.
Don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty. You cannot feel guilty. Everyone, just like as pastors, you all remind your church, okay, somebody got to be an elder. Someone has to be a deacon. Someone has to be this. Someone has to be that. No one is more important than the other, because when we come together as a team, that makes the whole, just like the body, arm, hand, leg, foot, can't do the other's job. Once you come together and work together, you got a perfectly working body. Don't feel guilty, Rodney. Don't. Because if you cannot do that, you cannot do that. You do what you can do. You can call. You can visit when you can visit. You can do what you can do. You do. Make sure she knows you love her. Make sure
your sisters just jumped on.
Yeah, Belinda was there a few minutes ago.
Belinda too. I saw Belinda. She said, "Yes, we are wonderful." That is her. She would say that. Yeah, we are. But here's what I really,
she said it with great humility, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's Belinda.
Actually, I was going to ask you this. To talk to somebody else about this, because we've talked earlier. You talked about being a team.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think
That's
that's
very important.
It's important. You know, can you just talk about that? I know time is going, but can you just talk about the team effort with you and your sisters? I mean, you guys have basically moved back around your mom.
Yes.
Let's talk about that team thing real quick.
I have 3 sisters. For those of you who don't know, I have 3 sisters. And I actually live in the house with mom, so I'm the primary caregiver. I'm happy to say, no embarrassment at all, I don't cook. No one who knows my mother believes that, because she was extraordinaire. So no one believes that, but I don't. All my sisters cook. So their job is to make sure the mom has meals, healthy meals. I don't matter. I mean, don't get me wrong. They make enough for me too. They want to know what I like too. But my focus is not me. My focus is that I'll grab a bowl of cereal. No, eating cereal for 3 meals a day it's not good, but it doesn't matter as long as mom has healthy meals. So they make sure that she has healthy meals. I'm not embarrassed again to say that my one sister, if I say, hey, I don't feel like doing laundry, she comes get the laundry. She does the laundry. So everybody has their part. And everybody, it is a team effort. It has to be a team effort. It's too much for one person. It's too much for one person. You have to worry about the meals, even if, let's just say that by some miraculous chance that I did know how to cook. I knew how to plan meals. So I'm planning meals, keeping up with her doctor appointments, keeping up with her medication, keeping up with the laundry, keeping up with. If there's any way you have a team of people, utilize them. Tell them what you need. And my sisters would say, what do you need me to do? What do you need me to do? And I got to a point where the first time that I got to the point where I felt that I was unsafe to be taking care of my mother. And I sat down. I called my therapist. Yes, I'm a therapist. There's no shame to my game about having it.
That's right.
That's right.
You want, but if you need that, then you get yourself a therapist.
Yeah, hold on, there's a break right here, Tally. You need a therapist, Tally. It's okay.
Pat. There's some people here who need to hear this. And the only reason I'm doing this, as Pat and Tasha know, is because I know that caregiving is, I don't even know what the word is to describe it. It's not easy. And it's really a trial and error. It's a trial and error because what I'm telling you may not work for you.
Pat, you know what's weird about that? What's weird about that is the parenting son, right? That we just heard earlier. The language you're speaking now is the same language we speak as parents. Right? So now it's like the whole thing just kind of flipped now. So imagine your mom saying, I don't know what to do with Patty. It's trial and error. It's trial and error. And now you're saying the exact same thing.
I mean, she may not have, she never said it to me. Her daddy probably had many conversations about what to do with this child. Every time I go somewhere, she's attached to my leg. Dave, what? And when I think about the special child that I was and how she never made me feel any negative kind of way. When I was feeling ugly, she would boo-hoo that, you're so beautiful. You're so, look at you, you're so beautiful. When I was feeling stupid, oh, Patty, come on, you know you're the smartest. She was just always very positive and affirming. And the least I can do for her now is what I'm doing is the least.
Wow.
Amen.
If I could do more, if I knew more, I would, because she's owed that. We call her Queen Mommy. Whatever she wants. We told her we're her memory. We're her memory. When she forgets, yes, you do. This and this and this happened. Well, I don't remember that. Yes, you did. You just told me. And then she'll start laughing. Okay, well, memory. Okay. So just you have to try different things, and don't ever feel bad if you can't. Again, I'm sure there are others like Pastor Grissom who can't and don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. You do what you can. You weren't meant at this point to be the primary caretaker. You do what it has for you to do.
A friend of mine knew it was time to get help for his mother when he found the orange juice in the cage and the hamster in the refrigerator. You know, she just she confused them.
I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
That's right.
yeah. She in her mind, she knew she had put things away.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
you know, the hamster. She opened the door, and the hamster's in the refrigerator. You know, trying to make a muffler out of a slice of cheese. That's when you realize, okay, I got to do something here.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Pat, I wanted to say to you that, you know, when we have talked and you've shared things with me about, you know, your mom was always first, especially when it came to, you know, working and divvying up your time.
Yep.
But this is not something that you can train for or be prepared for. And it is very obvious that what gives you the guidance is your love for your mother.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And your sisters.
My
I
mommy.
mean, there's no,
My mommy.
that's the prerequisite
Yep.
to being primary care or secondary care. If the love is not there, it is almost the equivalent of them being in a home or something where they don't see family, you know. But it is your love that is the fuel for your expertise in maintaining the care for your mom. And you need to be applauded for that. You know, it's natural for you. It's very obvious. It's natural for you because you love your mom and you just do what it takes to express that love.
And Pat, I wanted to add this too. I know for my own family, both of my grandmothers, paternal and maternal, had Alzheimer's. And my mom's mom, the siblings weren't even that close. Like over the years, they had drifted apart. But when my grandmother needed help, they, like your siblings, came together. Man, they are so close. Well, I just lost 3 in a row, but they were so close before that happened. And I wanted to say, for you and your sisters are going to be so close forever. It just bonds you more together. Now, for my grandmother too, they put her on hospice like 82. Grandmama lived to be 95, right? They had to take her off hospice, right? And look, grandmama kept eating, you know. I was like, she getting plump. I mean, she got fatter, you know. And they had to take her off of hospice because she kept living, you know. And all of those years, my uncles, my mom, you know, all of them kept taking care of their mother. They were like your sisters.
That's why she lived longer than what the medical team thought. And mom's doctor, she just had her physical a few weeks ago, and every time we have to go there, he commends us for the care we're taking of her, and that just keep doing what we're doing. She's doing well.
Amen.
And we love her. We love her up. She knows it. She's safe. She's secure. She knows it. And so she's all right. It doesn't matter that she's confused. It don't matter. She don't know where she is, what day it is. Oh, I see one of my daughters. I'm fine. It doesn't matter. They're going to take care of me.
Wow.
I love that.
Oh, yeah. That's a blessing.
It's a beautiful thing.
She remembers you guys. That's a blessing.
Yeah, that truly is.
Well, you could be a big help if you write that book.
Start
journaling now.
Yeah.
Latasha will help you.
I will. I told her already.
Yes, she is.
And so will Pat and Chuck and Marlena and GP and
you know,
and Logan. And when the revenues start coming in, I will help you count the money.
Thank you, Talavera. I can always count.
Don't loan them any. Don't loan them any money, though, honey.
So Pat, there may be someone in the chat or watching the rebroadcast who really appreciates you sharing this, but they don't really have lots of siblings. They may be an only child. How do you build a village? Do you tap into your church? Are there resources that they need to know about? How do you build a village when you're by yourself?
There are resources. Your county will have resources. Now that can be tricky depending on the finances of the mother or the father or whoever the person is they're caring for, because the state wants you to go bankrupt and then they'll help you.
Right.
But don't contact the Department of Aging. Whatever assistance they will provide, take advantage of it. Your parents have worked hard, had those tax dollars taken out. Do not be afraid or ashamed, whatever it is, to get help. if you have a close church family, and I'm not one of those Seventh-day Adventists who say, oh, well, we're all part of this church, so you should be able to.
Here it comes, y'all. Here it comes. Here she comes.
Have people in the church that you can trust, that you feel comfortable with,
right,
and that they're willing to help. Absolutely. But don't just go to your church. You can go to your church and just ask for prayer. Prayer is always helpful, because I'm gonna be honest, there are sometimes I can't pray for myself, but I know I got friends who are always praying for me, and that's where I get the strength, because sometimes I just want to give up, but I can't, because I know that mommy needs me not to give up.
And
so, go ahead.
And just on go ahead.
Because that made me think of something. You talked about therapy, having a therapist. What other things as a primary caregiver do you do? And I know it's not enough already, for self-care. What do you do to keep yourself rejuvenated so that you have something to give mom? Because that's a lot, 24/7. So
this is a Christian family show, Patricia. Go ahead.
Well, I did see in the chat earlier that one of my sisters did say that they have to kick me out of the house. Yes. She's still on. She's still on. I have, within the last year, come to the realization that I definitely need to, because I'm getting to the point of too often of feeling that mom isn't safe with me. And like the second or third time that happened, I said, okay, these crazy sisters may have something, because from the beginning, they were trying to get me, well, go away, go somewhere. You still got friends in Maryland, go visit, go. I don't want to go nowhere. But I, within the last year, I'm realizing and doing better at, and don't let county services run over you. Oh my goodness, yes. My sister put that in the chat. When you go to Department of Aging, and you're requesting other services, don't let them, you keep at it, because they will try to not help.
Right.
So anyone that you trust to help you with your loved one, because you can't trust everybody.
Sure. If you need a village, you need people, get a cowboy, an Indian, a fireman, and construction worker, and you will have village people.
And then you could sing.
Yeah. You know what?
YMCA.
We're sorry, Patricia. We're sorry.
Hey, Pat, what number child are you?
5 of 6.
5 of 6.
I'm number 5 of 6.
Are you the one that everyone depends on?
Oh goodness, no.
You're not the one. Okay.
No, matter of fact, I am. No, really. That's.
There's always one in the family that everyone comes to.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not me. It hasn't been me, which is even more strange, that I would be the one who initially started with my father, and then my oldest sister took over, Belinda, and I'm the primary one for my mother, and I think that's also a part of the reason why I don't feel worthy. I don't feel like I'm doing a good job, because I feel that they would do a much better job, that mom would be much better off with them. I've always been a big crybaby. Oh my goodness. Any of y'all on here? I hear this, I'm going, no. I've always been a big crybaby.
Stop telling our business, right?
But it's Belinda, Glenda, you, and then Cheryl, right?
Right.
Okay.
And then there were 2 boys.
And then 2 boys.
Paul and David were the oldest.
I mean, and look, they were, somebody was saying they're going to be really close, because look, they were a gang before this. They were mob deep.
They're going to be closer, I'm telling you.
Trust me, yeah.
Go ahead, GP. I see you. You know what's so strange about this, Pat, and we talked about this before. This could go on for 1 more hour without a problem.
Someone said in the chat, we need a part 2.
All right. Just a little bit. I remember we were in the green room having our conversation before, and there was weeping, and there was gnashing of teeth, and there was frustration levels. That's why I love you about this. You can talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly that comes along with this. But like Tally or Chuck said, there's love that encompasses the whole thing, which makes it different.
Chuck, yeah.
It was Chuck. What I'm
Chuck
also
says all the wise stuff. Yeah.
Right. That's Chuck. The thing that gets to me is that your friends, those need to encourage you also, because I don't like when you said, which is true. Yeah, we just got to go by what you said, that you don't think she was safe because of some points that you reach. So Latasha is going to pay for you to go see Wakanda Forever.
And Woman King.
And Woman King. No, really. Pat, you really never talk. When we come together, you never really talk about going somewhere.
I know. That's why I asked the question to raise it again.
So Tally is going to send you a gift certificate.
Indeed, I will. Actually, I'd actually planned to do that, Pat. You read my mind. You know?
Go ahead.
You know, I've talked to Patricia, and never, and whenever I'm, you know, if you call to talk to her, she's always in dialogue with her mother, and it is honest. It is, you know, whatever I mean, it is right there. She is present.
Yep.
It isn't gilded. It is an honest exchange, and it is the most loving thing. You know, and whenever I hear her, I know that it takes effort to do it. But having lost my mother, I still envy her. I envy her for, you know, but, you know, and this might sound macabre, and I don't mean for it to be, but, you know, we all pass this way but once, and at a certain point, we walk with our loved ones as far as we can. There is nothing like the beauty of seeing a family that has cared to the last full measure when they come to that moment when they have to say the ultimate farewell. There's a beauty to that. Now, you get to those other families where people don't give a flying fat rat's posterior about it. I mean, they're doing the James Brown in front of the casket, swinging on the chandelier. Oh, bring my mama back. You know, but folks who have loved with all their heart, they sit with a level of repose and peace that can only be purchased by the sanctifying love of having cared as far as is humanly possible.
Yes.
And I listened to Pat when she's talking to her mother, and I mean,
listen, Tally, it sounds sarcastic the way she talks to her, but it's not.
It isn't. No, it's just
beautiful.
Yeah. Mama, you want some ice cream? You know?
Yeah.
I'd like some ice cream. I'm not talking to you. Figured I was in on this thing, you know.
Well, I know it's genuine. A couple of times I've had to talk to Pat over Zoom or on the phone at home, and I could hear her talking to her mom in the background. You know,
yeah.
Like, hold on a minute.
Yeah, she put you on deep hold.
But
we all know moms first.
Yeah, that's priority.
But what I noticed
clear,
is that the tone, you know, in the cadence when she addresses her mom just overflows, you know, with love and patience.
It's legit, man. I mean,
Pat, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Marlene.
I was about to say, because Pat, I mean, I know some people who get frustrated and you know, fussing at their loved ones, you know, out of frustration, especially you know, they're combative and they're clenching to them, you know, not letting them go. And
I get frustrated. That's why I say, but God, because I gotta keep prayed up. My friends keep prayed up that whatever it is that I'm feeling, I cannot, when it's a negative feeling, I get frustrated. I get annoyed. I don't want to keep hearing that same question over and over.
Right.
That's how I'm feeling inside. But when the response comes out, God makes it sound like it's the first time I've heard this question. It's God. It's not me. It's not me. I'm not a patient person. Except with mommy.
Pat,
but it's quite clear that the underpinnings of you and your sister's love for your mom is principle.
Right.
You know, a lot of times, you know, we have to do things. We don't like doing it. May even, you know, resist to do it. But when you live principally, You see, your love is underpinned by principle. It's like, you know what? If she does this one more time, or if I have to do this one more time, but principle kicks in, and you do it anyway.
One more time.
And you
You live for that one more time.
You've demonstrated that.
Well, Pat, what I do want to tell you is that if you get frustrated, you know where Chuck works? Exactly.
I do.
If you go to his office, underneath the desk.
He's gonna get more than just Patricia stopping by.
I know, really.
It's the principal. It's a principal guy. I mean, it's like the guy with perfect attendance who had a very attractive headmaster. It wasn't the school that he loved. It was the principal of the thing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tally. Patricia, it's going to go downhill from here. I'm telling you.
I know.
We love you, Pat, and I was serious about taking you out. Let's go to the movies. Let's go. I mean, did I say that on here?
I'm going to say that was minister telling us, conference employee, let's go to the movies.
Let's watch a film.
Yeah,
Bible movie. Yeah.
Yes, we're going to watch the series of Chosen.
The Chosen, yeah.
I just want to say to those, and that was a good point you brought up, Gaston, about those who aren't blessed like I am to have the support of other family members. All this self-care and stuff that they're talking about is even more important when you don't have support. Self-care, which I'm not very good at. I know I'm getting there. My sisters are putting their feet up my behind, so I'm being forced whether I want to or not.
Yeah,
Self-care is very important.
Yeah, listen to
even when you don't have help, somehow, some way, find something that's just for you. Even if it's only 15, 20 minutes a day, you have to find something that's just for you.
Yeah.
Because
and something that makes you laugh.
There, you can't give your loved one the best of you.
That's right.
Awesome. Listen, I'm going to take this now because I'm going to tell you this. We really can go for another hour and a half. Pat, and you all don't know, Pat does not do this.
Yeah, this is big, guys. This is huge that she's on here right now. So I'm thankful.
Yep, she doesn't even turn on her camera for Zoom. So this is amazing.
Nails did, hair did, everything did.
But here's the thing. This is what she said to me. She said, if I can get one person, isn't that the conversation that we've had? She said, if I can just get one person,
Reverend Patricia,
to caretake,
is there one?
Is there
well,
one?
And we love you for it, Pat. I'm going to tell you this. There's some stuff going on in this chat that we hadn't even reached to.
Yeah,
that's true.
The social aspect, not social, the county aspect of it, the financing part of it. We just saw, and we know this. Those of us who have aging parents, etc. If you have a certain amount of money in the bank, you can't do A, B, and C. Maybe we'll come on and talk about the second half of that, how to, and not just the caretaker side, but even somebody from the county who we trust to be able to come and talk to us about how to deal with this situation. Thanks for the opportunity and for us to be able to share with everyone. And yes, I am one.
So you helped one. She's saying yes.
And I like what your sister said, Pat, which is really important. You must laugh every day. Because you know, I know you love your mom and you feel like you can't go, but it's going to burn you out beyond, your care, because you are still human, and there's only so much the mind can take, though you're willing. Is so much the mind can take. And so the laughter, getting out when they tell you to go, Go.
Go.
You know, you're going to come back.
Go.
But go. You
In
got to
Pottstown. Don't go to Pine Forge. Go to Pottstown.
Ooh, oh, wow. Live. Be still you're beating her. But if you need to laugh, Patricia, I'll send you a picture of me. That will really, trust me, that'll break you up on a regular basis.
Now, you know what I want to say about that telephone. We're going to leave it like that.
Listen,
But I agree.
Send it over to our. Oh, go ahead.
No, and it's fine. You can send it over to me, and then I'll say my comment.
Go ahead. Hold on. We're sending it over to Latasha.
I was going to say that I agree with what Tiffany shared here. I pray my children care for me and my husband the way that you care for your mom.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Exactly.
Tiffany, they called me and said it's not going to happen.
You got the text too.
You and they say you and Orville are on your own.
Well, my boys are already saying they put me in a nursing home. They say they're joking, but I think I believe them.
So we didn't mention this verse one time, this whole stream. The only commandment with the promise: honor thy father and thy mother.
Yeah. How about that?
Thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Pat's gonna live to be 130, y'all.
All right.
Yeah.
And your sister said, "Thank you, honorable sister number 3, for loving our mother the way you do."
Awesome.
And then
Awesome.
Belinda
That's
says
amazing.
she has lots of jokes for anyone who needs one.
Let me just say, she is so serious, but don't take her up on it.
I feel like, and I know that our podcast, we do have spiritual people on here besides Tyler. What I'm going to ask us to do here, if you don't mind, Pat, is for us to just just say a prayer for you and those who are in
those
chat.
Yes, everyone.
Not those. There are those who are there who wish they could have their mother back or their
Raise my hand.
And GP, I'm just going to ask if you could just take us there, and then we'll send it right back to Latasha after prayer. Is that good?
Sure.
Let's go.
Father in heaven, we're so grateful for this conversation that we've been privileged to have with Patricia. Thank you so much for being with her as she shared her testimony. God, she was raw, she was honest, and she kept it real. And because of her courage and her willingness to share, there are people in the chat who are just encouraged and nourished and feeling seen and like they're not alone because of her testimony and the way that she shared. So thank you so much for allowing her to share. And we pray for everyone also in the chat who is dealing with this particular disease. It's vicious, it's rough, it's difficult, but God, please provide them the strength they need when they get weak. God, continue to strengthen them and keep them as they care, as they call, as they Skype, as they FaceTime, as they Zoom their loved ones, or when they visit them or bathe them, whatever they're doing. God, help them to be encouraged and to know that there is a better day coming. Thank you so much for this opportunity to bring awareness to this disease and help us all to do something to make a difference, even if we're not directly affected, whether it's a donation, whether it's calling to check on somebody, whether it's becoming a part of their tribe that they need. Help us to do what we need to do to be the tribe to continue to help each other journey through this life. Thank you so much for this time. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you, as you were praying, I was thinking about the comment I think that Mike Williams shared earlier about Ebenezer Church having a support group for those who are caregivers to those suffering with Alzheimer's disease. And I think that that's something maybe, looking at all of the stories in the chat, I'm like, wow, this is a real thing that so many people are dealing with. But have we created a space for people to kind of come and share and be encouraged by each other? And so that's just something I'm throwing out there for people to consider starting in your own church or in your own community. And maybe, you could talk on the conference level about some ministry that could kind of take this up as well, because, I just never think that anybody should be on a journey and feel like they're alone. And especially when we as Christians are supposed to be here to support and uplift one another. And I also want to thank the individual who suggested that we cover this topic. We do listen to our listeners and our viewers, and this was one that was suggested to us, and we really appreciate it. And so if you have other topics that you want us to cover, whether you're dealing with it or someone you love is dealing with it, please let us know. We are here to try to cover any topic that is impacting you out there. And so email us at upset@aecsda.com. If there's a topic that you really want to see us cover on the podcast, we appreciate all of your suggestions. So thank you so much. And who is I just want to let you know, Patricia, I don't know if you saw it, your classmate from Pine Forge Academy class.
Oh, Michael. Hey, thank you.
Right. All the way from Capitol Hill.
I know you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A good elder. Good to
Yes.
see you. Elder
He's a
Cobb.
good person. He's just good people.
He is.
Good people.
Very much.
Lots of encouragement.
Yes, and I encourage you, everyone, to go back and read the chat, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, because people were putting some gems in there that we didn't get to cover, some real practical information. So go back and look at that.
And share the recording.
Yeah, and share this recording.
Hit the share button and send it to people you know that are going through the same struggle.
Yeah.
If it's Sunday.
Thank you, Rodney. Rodney's got to give us a little tagline that we're going to adopt here. You know, it's Sunday, it's the UpSet podcast, and so we will be back here next Sunday, same day, same time.
No, we'll be at Pelk.
Same place. But we will be here, Marlena.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Marlena's like, I ain't gonna be here.
Yeah, we will.
Marlena be giving up the Santa Claus secret. No Santa Claus.
Well, Patricia, we have a spot for you, Patricia. We have a spot for you.
Someone's gonna be ejected from the show.
But no, it's been great. Thank you once again, Patricia. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah,
thank you, Patricia.
Yes, thank
You're
you
welcome.
so much.
Out of your comfort zone, but we appreciate you doing it on behalf of others.
Thank you. Thank you.
We want to have a great week out there. We'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.
Peace out there.